Well, a highly anticipated federal bill to boost interprovincial trade is expected to be tabled today. CTV National News reporter Jeremie Charron joins us for more on this. So, Jeremie, what can you tell us what's inside this bill?
Yeah, well, Kent, look, that's the big question. We'll learn a little later today the details of this bill. But what we know, this was a big campaign promise. You know, Mark Carney promised this during the campaign to eliminate federal barriers to interprovincial trade by July 1st. Now, his platform promised to table the legislation by July 1st. So the big question is, which of those two promises will be met, whether it's both or just one. Of course, if the legislation is tabled today, they'll have met the platform promise. But this is expected to be a significant bill that will eliminate all of the federal barriers that exist to interprovincial trade. We know this has been a huge talking point for the premiers and the prime minister during all of their meetings, including Monday's meeting in Saskatoon, where major nation-building projects were also on the agenda, but continued conversation about eliminating interprovincial trade barriers. Some provinces have done it already, Ontario, Quebec among them, that have tabled similar legislation to eliminate those barriers. But the federal government is expected to table that legislation today. The big question will then be how quickly can they move this along. Minister Chrystia Freeland has been calling for all opposition parties, to unanimously support this, to allow it to get through the House of Commons as fast as possible. If it doesn't get unanimous consent, the concern is that this could take some time to be debated in the House of Commons, then move to the Senate, and there's only 2 weeks left in this parliamentary sitting. So the question is whether or not this government can get the bill through and have it become law, have the legislation become law prior to the summer break. But this is, a significant first step when it comes to the federal government's promise to eliminate barriers to interprovincial trade.
So this is all happening, Jeremie, at the same time as the Prime Minister and the U.S. President having sort of closed-door negotiations about trade. How will this move affect that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that in terms of a direct impact on the conversation between Donald Trump and between Prime Minister Mark Carney, boosting internal trade maybe doesn't have the biggest direct impact on those conversations. But what it does is it helps Canada be less reliant. That has been the conversation all along, is that Canada needs to bolster its internal trade, its economy here at home, and allow more trade to happen freely across the country, so that Canada can be less reliant on the U.S., less impacted by tariffs like this. Of course, tariffs are always going to be impactful, but this puts Canada in a stronger position, or could put Canada in a stronger position in the future to be less reliant. And that is something that, there is unanimous consent for, unanimous agreement across the board through the provinces and at the federal level, that this is something that the premiers and the prime minister can do collectively to help boost the economy. Some estimates say it could boost the economy up to $200 billion a year. That is if all federal and provincial barriers are eliminated. Hard to say what the exact number will look like at the end of the day, but those are some of the estimates that the federal government has been sharing in an effort to kind of show what kind of an impact this could have. So there's kind of an indirect impact, Kent, to answer your question, on the actual trade negotiations, because this really helps Canada be less reliant on other markets, including the U.S.
Okay, we'll see what this bill entails. Jeremie, thank you.